Hi, can you introduce yourself and the company, please?
Hi, name's Vladyslav. I'm CBDO at Platipus Gaming. We are the game company that specifies in production of slot games, table games, and all kinds of other games for the casino industry.
When was the company founded and what was the idea behind it?
The company was founded in 2014. The idea there was a transition from a social type of gaming that we were first into. There was a miracle slot casino at first, and then we decided that the casino games are much more profitable, much more interesting. At the time, the industry was not as good as it is now, so we made the transition. And with the knowledge that we had already of how these slot games work, we founded the company and proceeded here.
Can you highlight some of the main milestones, events, expansions of the company since its inception?
Yes, of course. These milestones are pretty significant for the company and for myself personally. So the company had its first largest milestone in 2018, where it hit its first major milestone in terms of people. So that was the first time when we get more than 60 people in our company. That was a pretty big and pretty impressive in terms of growth. In just 4 years, the company pretty much tripled in their size, and that is something to be proud of. Following that, it was 2000 and 2001, pre-COVID times, or COVID times as you might call them. And that time, this is exactly when I joined the company. And from there on, we've been pretty much on the roll. Every year is a milestone. When we are entering a new market, when we are setting a new record, or we're releasing a game that is extremely popular with our players.
Can you help us understand the scale that your company operates in?
The scale is very simple to understand. So you have companies that operate in local markets, let's call them, that are operating in a specific country, that are semi-global companies that operate in multiple markets across different jurisdictions, across, so for example, that would be Europe and, let's say, Africa. In our case, we operate pretty much in every continent on the world except for Antarctica, but I suppose it's just a matter of time until the gambling goes there as well.
What personally interested you to join this industry and the company in particular?
So, short story, I started off as an employee for Clarion. That's a show company that we are currently at. And since then, I was quite interested in the gambling and joining the industry. I was looking around for different companies. I've had experience working for operators, for aggregators, and until I finally found my dream job at the Platipus as a game provider.
What is your personal favorite among the games and do you have any fun memory or story related to that?
Now, I do have a favorite game. I do enjoy our blackjack. I was asked not to say that, but I do enjoy the blackjack. It's a very simple game. It's a very beautiful one. Our slots are more popular with the players, although our table games of a finer quality as well. Now, the thing here is the funny story that I do have. Basically, the people who are working in the industry, they're also occasionally playing slot games just to test things out, just to test features, or just to enjoy ourselves. Responsible gaming, very important. And in that case, there was a case when we were testing out one of the operators, and I did play our games. I got a massive payout. I think it was like X20. And then I decided, like, wow, this is fantastic. So do I pay out, or do I go for more? And I went for more in a different provider. Not going to say which one. I'm going to say it's involved pizza, and I'm going to say that I lost it all. Yeah, that was a fun story.
And did you withdraw the winnings?
No, I lost everything.
Can you name some of your most popular games?
Absolutely. So out of an impressive portfolio of about 150 games, the most popular would be Wild Spin. That is a very classic neon theme, a very nice one, and it's performing exceptionally well across all markets. The second one would be Wild Crowns, more of a European style game. And the last one would be Ultra Disco, that performs exceptionally well also on all the markets. These would be the top 3 popular. Although with regards to table games, I should mention the Blackjack and the European Roulette that we also have on offer.
In your view, what makes a game popular, exciting, and how do you incorporate those elements into product development?
Now, that's a tricky question, because what makes games popular is not always the game itself, but how is it presented, how it is portrayed to the players. If the players don't know about the game, even the most impressive feature-wise game will not perform. And if the players are constantly reminded of a game, even if it is subpar to other games, it will perform exceptionally well. We can see this vicious cycle in many operators' times. We can see that the games that were made 5-10 years ago are still on the top positions just because people know them, and the operators know people play it, and the vicious cycle is created because they are keep being replayed and over promoted. Now, with the games, with the feature that I personally recommend, I do enjoy the coin feature, the hold and win feature. These are the ones of staple of the industry right now. I do believe that the time for megaways is unfortunately over, although it was a good thing at the time. But presently, yes, I'm looking forward to see what kind of new features will appear, because with the involvement of huge amounts of data and the AI, I do believe there will be a new games, and I do believe there will be a new features coming very, very soon to the market.
Do you see any new game themes types that are gaining popularity and likely to be seen more often in the coming years?
In the coming years, I do notice some interesting shifts. That is absolutely true. Although it's hard to say, because each region is very different. So the games that are tracking popularity in Latin America and the games that are tracking more popularity in Europe are completely two different types of games. So, for example, and some of them are absolutely unpredictable. If I would tell you too that in Latin America, the games that are gaining more tractions are Asian-based on Tiger and Fortune, you would not believe me, but that is true. This is a game that are gaining a much exposure there, and going to perform even better soon, as they will be creating more and more of those types of games. Whereas in Europe, we see something of a stack back to a more classic themes, to a more understanding of the game rules and mechanics, because in the past we had games that are completely loaded with features, and the problem is that we overload the player with information that is not good. Therefore, we're taking a step back to streamline this feature so they are easy to understand. They might not be as fascinating or exciting, but they work, and play understand how they work, and that's what's most important for them.
What does responsible gaming mean in your words, and what can a game developer studio do to support that?
Responsible gaming is, to be fair, a very painful topic for many, both operators and providers. Now, there is a type of people who are obviously addicted to gambling. That is not good. There is about 2 to 3% of all players, around that number, maybe more, maybe less, depends on the market, who are terribly addicted to gambling and who are losing a lot of money there, who are owning their cars, apartments, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem is that these 2 to 3%, these bad apples, they color the whole industry. Now, there are operators who are targeting the vulnerable people, and that is not acceptable by any standards. Any responsible provider or other operators in the industry, or even aggregator, or even platform, will not have that type of business. It is simply because preying on the people who are in the vulnerable position. It makes no point from the commercial side even, and most importantly from the moral side even. That is simply wrong. The responsible gaming in this case is not so much to stop these people, but to identify them before and to prevent them. This is where the real data algorithm come into play, because in most cases, some operators can determine that these players will become a problem gambler. The problem is they might not have tools, they might not have resources, they might not have people to identify that in time. And once that will change, hopefully soon, that would be a very much an improvement.
I completely agree, but is there something that a game development studio like you can do regarding that?
Hypothetically, there is one. The problem is that it's kind of hard to implement. Now, we could implement a system that would track a person's winning and losses and would basically kick them out of the game if they lose too much. Yes, that is theoretically can be implemented. However, when we have to comply with local laws and regulations, in most cases, what we will add to the games will not be complying with those local laws and regulations, because it is most usually operator side. Now, what we do right now is adding to the autoplay feature is a thing that is called a loss limit, and you will see that most responsible providers do add this loss limit. So when the player feels that this is too much and they're losing too much, they set up this how much is too much, because we can't know every player, we can't know income, we can't know if this person have their last 20 quid or this is person who have 10,000 in their bank account. We just don't know that, but we are doing what we can in the very restricted environment.
How do you ensure that the games are fair?
Well, it's actually very simple. It's not just us who ensure that the games are fair. There are certification laboratories such as BMM, GLI, ITech Labs, and many others who are provably certify that these games, that they perform exactly as stated. Now, it's very simple. You open the game info and you will see exactly the return to the player amount of money, which basically what it means that over the course of approximately 2 to 3 million bets, this is the amount that expected to be returned to player or be won by players. Now, it's not very simple. It's not that you put $1, you get 70 cents back. It wouldn't be interesting to play like that. There is a feature such as volatility. So let's say if we have a 10 different bets by $1, and there is a very high volatility of winning of 9. So for example, right, there is bet 1, win 0, bet 1, win 0, and so on and so forth. And the last one can win 9, or the first one could win 9, or the third one could win 9. One of them will win. We don't know which one. And the laboratory certified that, yes, out of this selection, at least one person win exactly that amount as stated.
What message do you have for those who haven't tried your games yet and for those who are already enjoying them?
For those who are already joined us, thank you very much for choosing Platipus. We are very happy to have you with us, and we're doing everything in our power so you have the best experience ever. With those who haven't joined us, do try our games. I do appreciate if you would just give it a look. You could find it on YouTube if you don't want to play for real money. You could find it, the demo version, on our website. If you like it, maybe give it a try. If you don't like it, let us know what you don't like it, and we'll look into that.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you so much for having me.